Let's look at the notes that we are doing today. So we are solving one variable equations with variables on both sides. So we are going to work these out and also show checking your work. So you do need your calculator out as well. So I am going to refer back to our notes from the other day. Solving multi-step equations. Isolate the variable on one side of the equal sign. Step 1, simplify both sides of the equation by combining like terms using the distributive property. Do inverse operations to get all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other. So since we have variables on both sides, we are going to work on moving all the variables to one side and then all the constants to the other. What you usually want to do is you want to move the smaller variable. So that's what I'm going to put over here. Move smaller variable first. We haven't had to move the variable at all, but now we're going to have to. So we want to move the smaller one. So let's look at this first problem. And this is one of the slides in our interactive notebook. But I just printed it out. So if you're in class, we're writing on here. If you're not in class, then you're writing on paper in your journal. So we want to draw a line down the equal sign. Step 1 says simplify. There's nothing to simplify. This is already simplified enough. So we want to identify and move the smaller variable. So we have a positive 5a, and a positive 4a. So this is our smaller. That's the one that we're moving. I also want you to write your name on this in case it gets lost. Go ahead and write your name on here and today's date. It's up on the board. So we're going to move the 4a. 4a has no sign in front of it, so we know it's a positive. So the opposite of that would be minus 4a. And then I write it underneath the like term. So I don't put it under here. I put it under the 5a. And then draw my line. Okay, these will cancel because you have 4a minus 4a. Then we have a negative 3. And then 5a minus 4a. Or 5 minus 4. It's just a positive 1a. Or you could just write a. You could leave that one off. Okay, then we're going to bring down the negative 10. A is still not by itself, so now it's one of those simple equations that's just a two-step equation. So I need to move this negative 3 to the other side, so I do plus 3 to both sides. Carry this down. I don't have to write 1a anymore. I can just write a equals negative 10 plus 3. Negative 7. If we don't know, we plug it in the calculator. All right, now we need to check. So I'm going to write down checking it. So remember, when you check, you're substituting in your solution for that variable. And I'm going to show you how to do it in the calculator. A little different than we did earlier this week. So negative 3 plus 5. So see, negative 3 plus 5a. So I'm going to plug in that negative 7. Normally, we only have the variable on one side or the other, but now we have the variable on both. So equals 4 times the negative 7 minus 10. So everyone get out your calculator. Y'all need to practice this. We're going to substitute this in. You can do it the way we were doing it, finding out what the left side equals, finding out what the right side equals, see if they're the same. Or you can put this whole thing in the calculator. with the equal sign. Have y'all done that before?
Yes.
Okay, good. If it comes out as a 1, what does that mean? It's right. If it comes out as a 0, what does that mean? It's wrong. Good. So -3 plus 5, parentheses, -7. And then the equal sign is from second math. It's right underneath that green button. It's the test. We're testing it out. Second math. We want to put equals in there. 4 parentheses, -7 minus 10. So 1 means true. 0 means false. So since it came out true, I'm just going to put a check mark there. Don't skip the step of checking because you can always get your problems right if you just check. Okay, do y'all have any questions over there? Y'all good? Good. All right, let's go on to number 2. So remember what step 1 says over here? It says simplify both sides of the equation by combining like terms and using the distributive property. So if we look at this, the -2k, there's nothing to do there. But this side can be simplified by combining these like terms. If I ignore that k, then that's a -7 minus 8. So if I don't know how to do that, I'm just going to use my calculator. -7 minus 8. -15. So I'm going to do k minus 15. Don't add an extra minus or an extra negative. It's just k minus 15, period. All right, so now I need to get all the variables on one side. Okay, if I move the smaller variable, I'm moving this one. But what does that leave on this side? Yeah, it leaves a 0. So I really don't want that. So instead, I'm just going to move this k to the other side. So minus k on both sides. We could do it the other way. It doesn't matter which way you do it. You could move the 2k or the k. I just don't want to leave nothing on that side. If you do leave nothing, then you would put a 0 over there. If I have 2k and I subtract a k, this actually means 1, right? -1. So I now have -2k and a minus 1k, make it -3k. And then I'm carrying down, don't forget that -15. Okay. And then what's the last step? Divide by the -3. Yep. Negative and negative actually cancel each other out, becoming positive. If I have 15, I divide by 3, I get 5. Okay, let's plug it in now. So -2 times 5 equals 5 minus 7 minus 8. Don't forget to close that parentheses. So we checked it. Okay, I want you to go ahead and do number 3. Okay, the rest of the class, you are going to be working on just this page in your notes. Once you finish these 6 problems and show checking your work, if I can get this focused a little better, then I'll go ahead and give you the answers. Number 3 should be n equals 1. Make sure you show your work. 4, n equals 4. 5, 0 equals x, or x equals 0. And then 6, r equals -4. Make sure you show your work on all of these and also show checking your work on each one. If you check it, that should ensure that you are getting the correct answer. If you get something wrong, if it comes out as a 0, then whenever you put this in, you need to double check that you inserted this in correctly before you go erasing your problem. After you finish this, you're going to go onto deltamath.com, and there are 10 problems that you need to work. Work it on a sheet of notebook paper because you're going to turn that notebook paper in. If you are not in class, then you will upload a picture and turn it in that way. It is due on Monday.